Good morning again. This is Granny B. I'm doing this video by request from Frank. Frank wanted me to show me setting up my sewing machine. So I'm going to set up my sewing machine. I'm going to give you a few tips on what I do because I'm just lazy and I like everything right there at hand. So we'll get started. I do have a Singer heavy duty machine. Oh, by the way, we don't know the best way to film this, so we might be experimenting with moving the camera around or whatever it takes. We're going to try to get good shots of this. But I always I take my machine, of course, and set it on some kind of table. I have a permanent table back there where I sew, but the lighting was definitely not good for videoing. But I take my machine, of course, and I plug in the cords. I've got a 3-prong cord, and you plug it in there, and you turn it on there. You know it's turned on when the light comes on. Now, mine has a foot pedal, but if anyone has ever done much sewing, they know that that foot pedal has a tendency to walk away from them. So I've done several things. I have put sticky Velcro, and that might catch on to a carpet and hold it in better place. But I also have some of this sticky drawer or rug holder stuff. So I put that down on the carpet and put my foot pedal there. And now I measure where my foot is going to be, and if that's a comfortable position, then that's where it's going to stay. And it will stay there. It won't walk away from you. On the front of my machine, I've done several little different things. I took a piece of magnetic, a strip of plastic magnet, and I put it right there because as I'm pulling pins out, all I have to do is drop those pins on that magnetic strip, and it makes it so much easier. And then I made a harness for my scissors. I got a special little pair of scissors that fits right in there, and so I always have scissors right-handed. I made this. You've seen these in the sewing department. It's usually a piece of red plastic with a little tomato on top. Well, it was many years old and it broke. And I didn't want to have to buy another one because, why? Just to have another one break on me? So what I have done, this is a metal bracelet in here, very similar to this. I just went to the Goodwill store and I found me a metal bracelet. Get one that fits tight so that your head doesn't slip all around. Just make you a slip of fabric and sew that fabric on there. Then this part was the bottom to a children's juice drink. And so I cut about an inch off and I covered it with fabric and I sewed it together. I put stuffing in here so I could stick my pins in, and then I have needles handy. I have safety pins handy. I have to have a needle threader. I can't see those little holes anymore and my hands shake sometimes, so I always keep a needle threader. So in this little compartment, I keep my seam ripper. So I have everything I need right there. Needles, pins, safety pins. I've even got a little hank of lace if I have a worn seam that I can just put a little piece of seam tape over. got my scissors. So now we're going to thread this machine. When you're going to change your thread, don't pull the thread out this way. You think you might be saving 10 or 12 inches of thread, but what you're doing is you're messing up all of the controls where all of this thread goes through. So snip your thread off and pull it. I'm hoping you can see this.
Hang on. Okay.
So hook your scissors or something through that thread and pull it out this way. Because when you lift this, when you lift your foot, then it releases the pressure. And there's pressure points all along here that keep your string just as tight as you need it to be. So, this is the bobbin. And we're gonna, if this was a brand new setup, I wouldn't have anything here. So we're gonna start with winding the bobbin and everything. Here's another little trick I have used. You can find these little kits in the sewing section, but if you had this full of bobbins filled up, you have a possibility of spilling it. But I've made it to where it will not spill out. How did I do that? I took an eraser. Can you see that, honey?
Yeah.
I took an eraser and an X-Acto knife, and I cut little pieces that's exactly the size of those holes. And then I cut little slits and made it into a smaller piece. Here's a smaller piece. When I fill a bobbin with the thread that I want, I put that little piece of eraser right in that hole. And see, it sticks out on either side just a little bit. There's a little bit of an eraser hanging out here, a little bit of an eraser hanging out here. And then when I put it in the slot and push it down, it's in there. There went my eraser. It's in there, and it's not going to come out. So that's what I do. Just another little free tip here. The first thing you do is put your thread on. The thread comes to you. You slip it on your thread holder. And you secure it. And you go around this loop and this loop. Put your the tail of your thread in one of those holes. Bring it up. So there's your bobbin.
Hold it right there.
There's your bobbin.
Okay.
This is your bobbin spindle. And you push it to meet this little white winder guide. And you hold that thread up. And you push on the pedal. Can you see that, darling? Mm-hmm. Eventually, that tail will break off. You can go fast on this. All right, when it starts slipping, you can hear the engine slipping now, or the motor, and you just click that back. Lift the bobbin off, keep it attached, and cut it. Now we come off of this control, but we keep it in this control. You put your thread through this lift, You bring it down through this slot.
Okay.
And back up. And through a little slot here. And back down. Now you go through another little arm. You have to get it behind that arm. And then you put your thread into the needle this direction. Mine has a little aid, so I'm going to use it. It's a little needle threader. You bring the needle threader down and you poke the little catch into the eye. I can feel it there. I don't know if you can see that or not. But then this string comes this way. And hooks. You see my thread is behind this little arm, and it comes over and hooks behind the needle. You hold your thread here, and then you swing that needle threader out, and it's pulled your thread through. Okay, so now you see there's a loop back there. So we've got it looped in, and we're just going to pull it on out. And the machine is threaded. Now we have to put that bobbin in there. This bobbin is real easy. You just drop it in. Some of them are not that easy. You take the thread and go. It'll catch. It'll catch right there. There's a little hook right there. Put the bobbin cover back on and snap it into place. But you've still got this loose thread here. Can you see the bobbin winding as I pull that thread out? So what you do next is bring your machine down. Now, can you see the thread in there? The top thread is coming around and grabbing that bobbin thread. Can you see it?
I think so.
Keep twisting. Keep twisting, and it will pull that bobbin thread up. When it gets up, then you pull it out with your scissors. And now you have 2 strings. Make sure you pull your bobbin thread out far enough that the uptake doesn't make it pull back through your needle again. So once you get it to at least this length, then you can cut it off. Right over here, there's a little thread cutter built into the machine. And that thread cutter leaves enough thread to starts working again. It does not pull that bobbin thread out. Feed your thread to the back of the machine and you're ready to go. So now, later I am going to be making this t-shirt into a slip. I bought the t-shirt at the Goodwill store, so I'm going to just make a few stitches in this t-shirt, and then that's all I'm going to do on this video. And Frank, I hope you enjoyed it. This is just for you. You lift your foot up, you put your foot down, step on the gas pedal, and away you go. So I'm just going to sew a little bit just to show what it does. I can cut this with my scissors, or I can put it up here. I've got 2 strings together, the top string and the bobbin string, and I'm going to snap it off with the automatic thread cutter. And there's a nice pretty seam for you. I hope you liked this little tutorial and all of my little tips. If any of these can be useful to you, take them and run with them, because you will have a whole new world opened up to you if you start sewing and making your own creations. You'll have a lot of fun. Thanks so much for watching. Thank you, Frank. Bye-bye.